we go to Sean Rose with the stories making the news this week. Sean, what's in the air?
Greetings, Edgerenka. We are looking at the 2014-2016 medium-term fiscal plan tabled by Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. Orlando Smith, in the House of Assembly in December 2013. The plan basically outlines a number of new revenue-generating measures, some 9 measures in fact, that are expected to bring government another 9 million in 2014, 20.6 million in 2015, and another 20 million in 2016. The measures, Edgerenka, may be of some concern to residents. However, if we are to take a look at some of the respective initiatives, we should understand that government is simply seeking to show up to strengthen its financial base. Let's look, for example, at the proposed current change to the work permit structure. Now, as it stands at the moment, many people are charged based on the occupation type. Here, government is saying that they want to not only charge based on occupation type, but also based on the salary that you're getting. And I believe that when we look at that, we may see some variations. It is possible that for some people, their work permit salaries may go up, and in some cases, it may go down. And these are really left for the folks who are working within the various government departments to bring the details to the fore and have the public get a better understanding of what's happening behind closed doors. There is also that introduction of a tourist levy, some $10, which part of which will go towards financing government's environmental protection programs. There is also an extension of the existing hotel accommodation tax rate of 7% to charter boats docked in the territory, and we know a number of high-end charter boats dock here from time to time. There's also an increase on import duties on alcohol by some 100%. So I know that this will present a concern for many people, especially those who are in the private sector, the bar operators and restaurant operators and so forth.
Well, that's all three.
I just stopped at 4.
You stopped at 4.
Yes, because
okay.
I wasn't sure I was touching a nerve there when I said 100% on alcohol.
Well, that sounds like what we used to call a sin tax. A sin, S-I-N, tax, where persons who sin pay more money. and it's quite interesting. But
yes.
but I hear a lot of people complain about revenue generation, and to me the first 4 measures that you talked about there seems to be fair, and really the revenue is being generated from persons who can afford it.
Well, there you go. Because in relation to like the 5th one, collecting 33% of Ports Authority's reserves, government is saying 10% in 2014, 50% in 2015, and 40% in 2016. In fact, the plan is saying by 2016, a number of these charges or additional revenue generation measures would have been leveled off. So we shouldn't expect them to continue to spike in the years to come beyond 2016. And what we are getting from the plan and the reports that have really informed the plan is that government has been missing out on a number of opportunities to collect revenue. Whether that may be right or wrong is up for debate. However, there is another 66% of taxes to be collected from the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission. Apparently, these are areas that have not been touched in some instances. A comprehensive review of the central government fee structure. They're saying that here is an opportunity to raise additional revenue again. Maybe there are some areas where we are getting goods and service, particularly services from government at either no cost or very low cost. And also the 8th, adopt a more aggressive approach to the collection of current taxes, that point you were making a while ago, where in some cases maybe revenue is not being collected. And 9, to review the current payroll tax structure with the objective of developing a more progressive tax system.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that it almost could be said that the government is putting more taxes on the rich. For example, to take the work permit tax increase. Well, if it was only based on your job,
yes,
then you the persons who were making a lot of money and had those high-paying jobs were perhaps getting away with a much lower
Yeah, fair enough.
price.
Because
So-
you may have a white-collar job that is not necessarily paying you
So-
a lot of money,
yeah.
and you're being charged based on the job.
So now that you're being paid based on your you're
Yes.
paying the fee based on your salary, then it stands to reason that a person making a lower salary would pay less,
Yes.
and a person making a higher salary would pay more, which
Agreed.
is a very progressive tax. The 7% on the yachting industry.
Yes, moving that from the hotel accommodation to
Yeah.
charter boats docked in the territory.
And so the persons who, I'm sure that the businesses would pass that on to the persons who are renting the yachts.
yes.
So I'm not seeing anything, because I think that was one of the big concerns of the local people living here, that some of these increases would adversely impact them, and that you would be taking more money out of their pockets. But it seems to me that the money would be coming out of the pockets of those persons who either can pass that cost on to a customer that's coming from someplace, from another region, or absorb that tax themselves.
And let's take another look at the tax on charter boats. We know that when boats are docked in the waters around the BVI, we know what happens, and that the fact that part of that tax will go towards environmental protection and environmental based programs tells us that the money will be going back into the very source of, for these charter boats to dock, because in many cases we are looking at disruption to the marine life, the ecosystems, generally speaking, and that is something that I think is quite plausible.
Yeah, and we
Yes.
need to get that cleaned up. I would hope that eventually the government would put some stringent environmental protection measures in that industry, so that our environment could be more protected. Because as you may have heard, or you may know, that for several years now we've been talking about the painting or the treatment on the bottom of the boats,
Yes.
of adversely affecting the conch,
Yes.
and we're threatening to wipe out the whole species of conch, where you turn in the female conch into male conch. So
The discharge of waste is also an issue.
and the discharge of waste
Yes.
is also an issue. So we need that money to help to clean up the environment, and those persons who are benefiting from that environment need to pay their fair share, or at least a little bit more. So I think
I do think, though, that the extent to which persons who are frequenting the BVI feel comfortable and see these increases or taxes as reasonable would depend largely on the manner in which they are administered.
yes.
And broadly speaking, the collection of new revenue, new taxes, would really depend on the institutional capacity within the various government departments to ensure that these taxes are collected and they are done in a very transparent and efficient manner as well.
Well, that has always been a challenge. This collection of taxes in the BVI has always been a challenge, and hopefully, in this administration, we can get that fixed, and so that the persons who can pay more will pay more, and people will pay a fair share of their taxes. But I'm happy to see that the taxes are being administered in such a way, or developed in such a way, where those persons who can afford to pay more will be asked to pay more, and the persons who cannot pay more will could pay what they can afford. So I think it doesn't sound so bad at all.
That's right. I mean, there's more to tell, but I'm sure you'll stay tuned to the news this weekend, because when you do, you'll also hear from the Customs Department. We understand that they have raised some $31 million in 2013, and taking into consideration the global economic challenges, that seems like a pretty reasonable figure. But we'll hear from the officials there whether they think so or not, and also other concerns, challenges and concerns within the Her Majesty's Customs Department.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing this information to our attention, Sean, and we look forward in the days ahead to hear more about this fiscal plan. So make sure you tune into the news here on JTV and hear more about what we are going to be doing in terms of revenue generation. Good story. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.